Being a sim racing content creator running triple 4K monitors and VR means I needed as much horsepower possible. So I decided to build a whole new PC with the 7950X and the 4090. Originally, the goal was just to get a 4090 and throw it into my existing PC, but I was kind of tired of my hardlined water cooling loop and just water cooling in general when I had issues and I have to troubleshoot and drain and refill the loop over and over again. I was just kind of wanting a more reliable and simple system, as well as making it as small as possible while still fitting as much as possible. So I decided to go with all new build. I also tried to make it pretty minimal. I didn't want a ton of RGB either. So my goal was simplicity, reliability, adjustability, and making that all fit as compact as possible with full size components. So without further ado, let's get into the build.
Miss you when you're gone. I call you on the phone, and I always miss you when you're gone. I miss you when you're gone. When are you coming home? I always miss you when you're gone. I miss you when you're gone. I call you on the phone, and I always miss you when you miss you when you miss you when you. I always miss you when you're gone. I miss you when you're gone. I call you on the phone, and I always miss you when you're gone. I miss you when you're gone. When are you coming home? I always miss you when you're gone. I miss you when you're gone. I always miss you when you're gone. I miss you when you're gone. So many ways. I've been waiting for so long. 'Cause then when I'm on my own.
I must stop this video for today's sponsor, my kidneys. You think I'm just made out of money and all this just comes out of nowhere? It doesn't. I am now more machine than man, regretfully. So if you're enjoying this content and would like to see more, then subscribe to the channel, and let's get back to the video. Okay, so I just got back from Micro Center, and I was planning on getting the 4090 MSI Supreme Liquid because these back fans here, I was gonna put that extra radiator in there. So basically, I wanted to go water cooling without having to deal with a custom loop anymore, and just get the simplicity of an AIO, get the nice quiet cooling, but unfortunately they didn't have it. And I was like way in the back of the line, so I didn't have many options. But the option I did have was this behemoth of a card. It's Asus Tough, the OC edition. And as you can see, I built this whole PC, got this case and everything, with the idea that I wanted something more compact. I wanted small, I wanted simple, I wanted access to all my PCIe slots if I ever wanted to expand to more stuff in the future, you know, more content creator, you know, storage, whatever, capture cards, whatever I need. I wanted access to everything while still being compact. And now I got this behemoth of a graphics card. Right now it will not fit. I think it will fit if I just move this radiator to the top. So I'm gonna try that. But if not, then I might have to go back to my 011 Dynamic Mini. But we're gonna try this and see if it works. All right, just gonna set the radiator up there for now. Hopefully that doesn't move. Moment of truth. Will this absolute behemoth fit in this tiny case? If it does fit, I feel like the airflow is actually still going to be I need a bigger screwdriver. If it does end up fitting, I think the airflow is still gonna be very good because now there's gonna be no radiator in the front. It'll be up top as an exhaust. You get clean air from the front with the big 140mm fans. We also have this pass-through coming out of the GPU going straight up. We also we'll have clean intakes back here as well, clean intakes on the bottom, and just all exhausting out of the top. Maybe I didn't want to put another fan here. And I still don't want to, so maybe I won't. But I just want to keep it clean because I especially like the clean ProArt motherboard design. But I think it'll still work really well. And actually, I'm not... So like I said, this wasn't my first choice. Actually, honestly wasn't a choice originally for me at all. But it actually kind of matches this. Feels like all aluminum. And it's all got this nice like gunmetal gray painting finish on it. And it looks really nice. I mean, the top's a little gamer-fied, not too bad. Overall, yeah, I think it kind of matches the theme we got going with the gray RAM, black and grayish motherboard. So I think this is pretty cool. Perhaps it is a pleasant surprise. All right, 2 slots, but about the thickness of 4 maybe. Will it fit? Oh boy. Oh, no, I forgot to take...
What?
I forgot to take the rubber off the PCIe slot.
What an idiot.
Come on, don't bang it up. Oh my gosh, it fits. This looks absolutely ridiculous. I kind of like it. Oh, why do I like it so much? This might have ended up working out for the better, I think. The Founders would definitely still look cleaner with the motherboard, but this matches too. Oh, though. Am I gonna be able to fit the cable? So I do have a Cable Mods cable coming in. I don't know when, but I ordered basically one of these, but a Cable Mods, where instead of the splitter right here and then having all these connectors come like right underneath, it's all gonna go to the back and much cleaner, just one cable. But for now, I know you're not supposed to flex these cables too much. I could go upwards. I'm gonna need that Cable Mods 90-degree adapter, I think. But man, that looks awesome. I got some bad news. Looks like the 280mm top rad is not gonna fit. I physically got it in there, but once connectors and fans and stuff go in, that's just not gonna work. So I could drop down to a 240 instead of a 280 and put it on the side here. That is an option. But with a 7950X, 240 will probably do the job. So might have to think about that. And if I decide that maybe I just want a bigger case with more cooling, I could just go back to my 011 Dynamic, or maybe just do a different case entirely. But it looks like, unfortunately, I really like how this looks though. Like, I like how compact, while also like having so many fans. This is, so big bummer, but what can you do? Okay, so I've returned from Micro Center and I've replaced the AIO with actually a Corsair one this time, and it's a 240mm. So now it's gonna go in the back, and that should fix my clearance issues with the with the GPU. It also came with these RGB magnetic levitation fans. I think I'm gonna run them. This is kind of supposed to be a no RGB build, but put them in the back, see how it looks, and then if we don't like it, we'll just switch to Noctua in the future. So, I looked up the best fan configuration was basically running the CPU as exhaust out of the case, getting fresh intake from the front and the bottom. Obviously, we have a massive GPU, so we'll see. I might be able to get a little bit better CPU temperature, maybe like 1 degree better if I do intake from the outside, but then everything else gets hotter inside. So we'll see how it goes, and we can make adjustments from there. All right, so we got the CPU cooler in, we got the radiator, the fans. I have to tighten that in the back, figure out how high I want it to go. Got the top fans. I totally forgot. I can't run because of this motherboard. It interferes up in this top left corner, so I can't run 3 120mm radiators. So I'll probably get some 2 140mm for the top. I put the stock case fans back in the front, the 140mm, but I can fit. Let's see. Should be able to fit this 3 120s on the bottom. So another reason I wanted to go to the AMD 7000 series is the 7000 series has integrated graphics in the CPUs, and that basically allows me to add an extra monitor as well. But those are, you can't really, I believe you can't game on those because it's not going through your GPU. My GPU is not very strong. So it's good for having like a second like productivity monitor, or have Discord or streaming or recording apps. So that's what I'm using for the fourth monitor that I got to put back on top of my my triple screen Simracing setup, and that way I don't affect any of my GPU ports. Now, what's good about the Asus graphics card is that it'll allow me to run one of these one of the Aorus monitors off HDMI 2.1, so 4K 120 Hertz. I can run the other two on DisplayPort, and then I can run, so that covers the triple screens. And then the desk monitor, that extra HDMI 2.1 port, I can run an HDMI 2.1 compatible high refresh rate monitor, and that third port allows me to still run my VR headset. That means every display device is hooked up directly to my PC, and no more switches, and I could just use software to switch the primary screens in Windows, and I could cover that in the future as well. Now, the only problem is I need an HDMI 2.1 monitor for my desk, because I can no longer use a DisplayPort monitor at my desk, which brings in this guy. I wasn't planning on getting this, but I've wanted to. I just couldn't justify it, and now I have a reason to justify it. But this is the Asus 42-inch OLED, I don't know, PG42UQ. And the reason I was motivated to pick this is because this is 4K OLED, which, as you can tell, I like, and HDMI 2.1. And then the other thing is that this can overclock to 138 Hertz. So, just almost that 144 Hertz. So I think that's good enough. But the key is that you can only do that on HDMI. You can't do it on DisplayPort. And I was like, I got a free 2.1 port. This is perfect. Because otherwise I would still need to use the DisplayPort switcher. I'd have to still use these, which this is a great solution. The only issue I had with this solution is that I couldn't run my ultra wide at 160. I had to drop it down to 144. Very minor. This is real first world. This is real first world problems. But I'm always trying to find these like niche, most extreme things and trying to find solutions to them. And by getting the tough graphics card, I just kind of waltzed in this, and I was like, this is perfect. So no more switches, everything's direct connected. And you know, and this, I mean, should be awesome, right? So let's throw this on the desk and let's get cracking. So I shared a picture of my PC on Reddit and with the side panel off, and a lot of people were just talking smack like, oh, close it up, temperatures are gonna be bad, it won't fit because of this cable right here, this awful adapter to four 8-pin connectors. And one of the problems with this connectors is that you can't bend it too much, and if you do bend it, you want to bend it like after the sleeving here. Otherwise, it can like pinch the connectors inside, and it could actually like cause a fire or blow up. I don't know. I did my best to bend it after the sleeving, and it does make you a little bit nervous, but let's see if the glass panel fits on. All right, moment of truth. Here we go. Hey, it works. All right, so now that everything's working, PC's fully closed, how about we check the temperatures and see how hot it gets while gaming. Figured Cyberpunk is probably a good title to test the temperatures. You know, very CPU demanding and GPU demanding. So I don't have an overclock on the GPU, but I do have PBO enabled on the BIOS for the CPU. So I'll make the CPU a little bit warmer. Let's see what graphics settings we're playing at here. Graphics, DLSS set to quality, high, ultra. Let's screen, Psycho, no, we'll keep it on ultra, no Psycho. Ray tracing on, ray trace lighting set to ultra, local shadows, sun shadows, all that's on. So pretty much max graphics other than like 2 Psycho settings with DLSS. And so let's get a little bit of heat soaking in there. So I'll let it run for a little bit. We're getting about 75 frames per second, 77 at 4K. That's and DLSS 3.0 isn't out for Cyberpunk yet, and I think that would get us over 100 frames. But even just with the older DLSS 2.0, it's still doing pretty good. And you know what? Let's make the conditions even worse. Let's see. I have a 200 megahertz overclock on the GPU core clock and 1000 megahertz on the memory. Let's see. I'll make the temperatures a little bit higher. We're boosting to 2,925 megahertz on the GPU. Getting about 80 FPS now, 81. Oh, looks like we gave it a couple frames with that overclock. So the CPU is boosting like all cores to 5400, 5450, 53. CPU temp is sitting about 74, 75C right now. So the GPU is sitting about 65, 66C, and that's with the overclock boosting over 2900 megahertz. So looking not too bad there either. And the fans aren't ramping up super bad either. It's not like ungodly loud or anything like that. And one thing I just wanted to showcase. So right now I have all my Simracing monitors. I have my VR headset plugged in. If I turn on the VR headset plugged in right now with just this monitor activated, this will work. But I have basically 5 displays plugged in right now. I don't have the 4th monitor plugged in. But if I just go over here and change my profile, it should switch to over there. So that means I can run all my monitors fully connected to the PC, no more DisplayPort switch, no issues with bandwidth limitations, so I can run monitors overclocked if they have that feature. VR, as I don't have to, you know, restart my PC and unplug stuff for VR or anything like that. Just everything works natively. It was a bit of a pain to set up. Windows sometimes freaks out when you're, you know, deactivating and activating so many monitors. But once I finally got it set up, it seems to be working pretty seamlessly. And yeah, I'm super excited about that. So there is a correction I have to make on the monitors and how they're running, and needing an HDMI 2.1 monitor for the desk setup. But that's actually not true. I was just kind of thinking about how I was running it in my old setup, and then I was thinking, oh, if I run everything the same, then I have the extra 2.1 port, and I can have that direct connection on my desk and not use the switcher anymore. But since my Simracing monitors use HDMI 2.1 as well, and one of them is hooked up already that way, I could have just ran two of those monitors with HDMI 2.1 and then had the display port for my ultrawide on my desk. So my justification for this monitor kind of no longer exists technically, but there is still the fact that if you want to run this monitor at full bandwidth with overclock, 138 hertz, 12-bit color, HDR, all that, that has to be done through HDMI 2.1. I believe you might be limited to 10-bit color or something if you use DisplayPort. So in my head, I was like thinking, oh, extra HDMI port, I could get that new monitor and run it, you know, at its max potential. So there is still that factor, but I could have still ran my ultra-wide just fine just by switching one of those screens to HDMI. All right, that's it. The PC ended up working out pretty well. I accomplished my goal of fitting, you know, full-size ATX components, you know, full-size motherboard, full-size power supply, a graphics card that I wasn't even expecting to get, and that's absolutely huge. All that managed to fit in the O11 mini case, so really happy with that. I already did a first look performance video. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. And I just did a couple sim early benchmarks just to kind of compare it to my old PC and see how much better it was. But there is still more benchmarking, more in-depth videos to come. So stick around for those and let me know what you guys think. But until next time, take it easy. See ya.